meeting to order at 7:01, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'll start.
Christine, thank you.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We had that at the last meeting, and then the board was like, we want comfy chairs.
The first thing, now that you've all sat down and got comfortable, I am sorry to say, the first thing we have to do is go into non-public session. So if you'll just step outside, I do not anticipate this will be very long, just in the hallway, and just shut the doors.
We have to
And
vote.
I'm sorry,
Don't we have to-
yes,
Yes,
yes.
I'll-
Do I have a nomination to go into? Second? Thank you.
Do you want me to close the doors?
Yes,
I'll do
thank you very
it.
much.
Oh, thank
Okay, we have a clerical error that we made in going into non-public, so we are going to officially go in and out, okay, just to cover that we've done it properly.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we go into a non-public session in accordance with RSA 91-A:3, II, parentheses A, close parentheses.
Second.
Nancy Hendricks, aye.
Liz Thomas, aye.
Beth Monaco, aye. Christine Fitzgerald.
Maura Ryan, aye.
Okay, now at this
You
time,
wanna do your motion, come back out?
yep,
I'll make a motion to come out of public comment and.
Non-public.
Non-public comment and go into public. Can it be made at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
yes, yeah,
Second.
okay.
Nancy Hendricks, aye.
Liz Thomas, aye.
Beth Monaco, aye. Aye, Christine Fitzgerald.
Maura Ryan, aye.
Just want you all to know, you're gonna be shocked about this, but we're not perfect. But we're
Trying.
we're striving to be, and we're just making sure that if we miss something, we get it, you know? We need a little practice. Okay, we're
Liz,
back to now,
Liz.
public, yes, I'm sorry.
If you want a motion to seal the minutes?
Oh, yes, thank you so much.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we seal our minutes from non-public.
Second.
Okay,
Nancy Hendricks, aye.
Liz Thomas, aye.
Beth Monaco, aye. Aye, Christine Fitzgerald.
Maura Ryan, aye.
Thank you very much, Donna, okay? All right, we're going into public comment. Now, you guys have a right to come up, state your name and address, and share your opinions
Do we have a time
or
limit?
requests, okay?
Do they have a time limit?
Huh?
Do we have
3
time?
minutes, I
Oh,
think.
3 minutes?
I think it's 3 minutes.
It's 5 minutes.
Oh,
it's 5 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay.
in our manual, I looked it up, it's 5
Okay,
minutes.
my
Yeah,
apologies.
you're limited to 5 minutes of conversation, okay? Unless you have someone with you that they wanna give you their time.
Oh,
That's
no,
not
we'll-
usually done, but it's possible, okay? All right, anyone for public comment?
How you doing?
Hi.
I'm Paul Escobar, 20 Woodbine Drive. I had a few things I wanted to talk about, and a few things that were rather concerning to me over the last couple of months worth of meetings.
Excuse me one
Yeah.
moment. Did we start up the?
I was just-
We did. Okay, thank you. Go ahead. I just wanted to make sure
Sure.
we're recording now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So in April's meeting, there was discussion around a few different discussions around the petition that was put out in the upstairs in the library on the desk, as well as the letter to the editor that was put forward by library staff. And so I have a couple questions about that. There was some concern that was raised by Ms. Perez and others around there being some partisanship around these two documents that were put out. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But one thing I want to ask about is I know that the petition was something that was agreed upon, that you guys voted on for placement upstairs on that desk. Liz, you were one that also voted for it to go forward.
I abstained. I abstained.
Thought you voted yes on that.
Yeah,
Did
no,
you?
I
Okay.
abstained
Okay.
because I didn't feel like I had time to look at it.
Understood. Okay, so anyway, it was voted yes, so it was put on the desk, and then I think the next day, or maybe the day after, it was then removed. And so my question is, when was the meeting announcement that, to discuss removal of that petition that had already been approved by the board? And who made the decision, and how was that process completed?
Okay, I made the decision. What I did is I called several board members, whoever was available and I could reach,
Okay.
And I asked, should I call an emergency meeting, or, can we, take a revote, okay? And probably was not the proper way. Being a new chair, I didn't know, but what I did is I took a roll call and I got four no votes right away, okay? So, in the other two, I didn't have time. I tried reaching them and left me messages or didn't get to them.
So Liz, you've been at this for a long time. You know that's not a proper way to actually make a decision as a chair, I would imagine? Yes?
I accept that I'm being spanked. And
Okay.
I
No, I'm not trying to
appreciate-
sp-
No,
all I'm
you
trying-
know what? I
Okay.
appreciate your saying that.
Yeah.
And I do know, and I will be very more cautious of not doing that in the future.
Can I ask then, what prompted your change of heart, I guess? What prompted the action?
What prompted me is I abstained purposely, cause it was 10 o'clock at night. I'd been up like really early all day, okay? And I didn't have time to review the letter and the petition. And that's why I abstained, cause I really thought, I was not prepared to address it, okay? Or to vote on it. When I looked at it, I felt that the wording of it was seditious, okay?
Seditious?
And so,
Meaning what? How is
that
it
we're going
seditious?
against the government type of thing, and
Okay.
that was my opinion only, but what I did is I said, I am going to give the chair, the committee an opportunity to get back together, and if they choose not to do a roll call, over the phone.
Okay, yeah, it's obviously it's a real problem with the way that was done. And
I
would
acknowledge it was not done properly.
Right.
And
So-
I would be much more cautious to do anything
Understood.
like that in the future.
Thank you. So you're responding, I guess, to Trump's executive order, right? Which listed a bunch of different things that he was going to eliminate. One of them being
Yes,
ALA.
IMLS.
I'm sorry, IMLS.
That's okay.
Funding, among other things. There was all kinds of for homeless recovery money. There's all kinds of stuff in there. But anyway, so you're responding, I guess, to that. Is that accurate? And that you felt that petition somehow was going against that executive order? Is that the reasoning behind it?
My real reasoning is, quite frankly, I said, this is ridiculous, because we know all of our representation in Washington are Democrats, so they're not gonna agree, they're not gonna follow, his
Okay.
rule at all.
Right.
But yes, I felt like it was not the proper thing to do.
Okay, I'll just give you so when I look at the petition, I'd ask anybody in this room to look at this petition. If you haven't read it, please read it. And also read the letter to the editor. There's nothing political about it. What it does is just state facts. And if you're a library supporter, if you're a trustee, I would think that you'd be very supportive of that letter and the petition. All it did was exactly explain what was happening, what effect it might have on the library locally. It didn't say anything about Trump. It didn't say anything about Republicans. It said nothing like that. It just said, if you're so inclined, reach out to your legislator, whether that's your state rep to maybe apply pressure, whomever it might be to apply some pressure. But to take that away and no longer give people the opportunity to sign that petition was wrong. I think you admit that it was wrong in terms of the process, but I would also say the decision made was completely wrong. And then after that, the enforcement mechanism was odd to me. Who then called the library? Who made contact with whom at the library to have it taken down? Because from what I understand, maybe Ms. Perez and others were
Sorry,
involved
your time is up. I'm just mentioning
Okay.
that, but it's,
Ma-
I won't give up my time.
Thank you.
okay. So I will do it again.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
I made the call
To whom?
to Donna Plint because Erin wasn't available,
Okay.
right, Donna?
Right.
I made the
That's
call to Donna because she was acting director at
Okay,
the time.
all right.
Okay, and what I said is, I was upset because when several people called me and told me that when they asked who put that up, they said it was the Board of Trustees that put it up, okay? I did not feel that the Board of Trustees put it up. I felt like it was a request from the library, the librarians, and again, I was uncomfortable, I didn't have time to even read it. I felt like people just didn't have time to read it. It was, it was presented to us at the last moment in a late hour of the day.
So listen, I'm still trying to understand, what was political about either the letter to the editor or the petition?
I believe that it says executive order. So as soon as you say executive order,
Right?
your executive order is the presidency, okay?
I understand what the executive.
So what, that's what that,
Okay.
and I thought, again, you
So,
know,
so the letter didn't say anything like, Orange Man decided to defund the public library, everybody needs to rise up and sign this petition. It said nothing like that, just gave complete facts. Didn't say anything like, Trump spending $100 million on a military parade, but defunding the library. It said not, those are political statements. What was put out were non-political, generic, factual based, had no basis, nobody had any basis here to take it down after having been voted and approved by the board to put up. And certainly we can't have people like, people that aren't part of the library trustee group to then enforce it, because as I understand it, Ms. Perez and maybe someone else actually went into the library to see if it was actually off the desk and acted as the enforcement mechanism. Is Ms. Perez the enforcement mechanism for library trustees?
no,
No. She's not a trustee, is she, correct?
that's
Is
correct.
Maureen Hardy a trustee?
I'm sorry,
Is Maureen Hardy a trustee?
no,
No. I mean, none of these people are trustees, right? They're citizens like I am, but we have to follow a process. It's really important that we do that. And I think when we don't do that, you run into issues like this where people are upset because they're all concerned about libraries being defunded in the first place, and the tax on library and the whole bit, and state funding of library potentially being taken down. I know Joe Sweeney hold his potential bill, but still there's that kind of continuous element of attack at libraries. And so we have to be a lot more vigilant about how we do these things and a lot more thoughtful about it, and make sure that collectively you guys come to a reasonable agreement that the public can be involved in, because in this case, we were completely in the dark on the issue. And that's really the way it went down. I have a couple of other things. I think you'd like to stand up and speak, but I've got a couple of other issues as well. Ms. Perez also mentioned harassment. Okay, at some point she was giving definitions of harassment and defamatory statements. There was no harassment. There was harassment mentioned, but harassment comes in a lot of different forms. And as a public official, the threshold by which somebody is harassed criminally or whatever it might be is extremely high, extremely high. And the reason it is because people have to be able to have opinions without being always a threat of some kind of legal action being taken against them. That's why that's the case. So there's no harassment happening. Even if somebody mentions harassment, there's no basis on which you could act. You have to feel somehow that you have to respond to that in a way that the board would ultimately feel threatened by something like that coming up. So that's one thing. She also
Can I-
mentioned things about.
Can I just,
Sure.
one thing, I believe Beth had made a comment on Facebook that the employee was harassed.
That's correct.
And then I had asked Erin, and Erin said that no one had mentioned anything.
No one had
to
come
her.
to me to express that they had been harassed.
Correct.
Those are two different things. Those
No,
are
but
not-
maybe I misunderstood,
Sure.
but I thought you said that Christine Perez had said that an employee was harassed.
She had mentioned that harassment was mentioned in a Facebook post.
And
then
it
she was
was?
upset. Yes, I agree it was. Yes,
Okay.
it was.
I'm
Yep.
just making sure
I'm just
I
talking
had it
about
clear.
definitions of harassment, because it comes in a lot of different forms.
okay,
Okay.
can,
I'll wrap it up in two.
He has
Thank you.
in 1
he
minute, I
has-
promise.
very much, yeah.
The other thing
He
is
has 29
defamation,
seconds.
libel, and slander. Again, same thing, same rules apply. Very, very high threshold for a public official, for anybody really.
Mhm.
So I would say if somebody wants to come up here, if somebody's expressing an opinion, and then they say, well, I've been libeled or slandered, whatever it might be, you have to show injury. You have to show malice. You have to show a lot of things. Let them do it, because it's not going to work. They're going to end up spending a lot of money. That's not going to go anywhere. It's a threat that you don't have to listen to, and it wasn't any of those things anyway. And Ms. Perez, who's actually slandered and libeled people over the course of her couple years in office.
All right, that's
And
too much.
no, I don't think
That's over the line.
including accusing the town of allowing 95 people to vote that weren't allowed to vote, and
We're
having to
talking
be.
about library here,
Yeah.
we're not talking
Yeah,
about
I understand
town
that,
issues.
but I'm just saying it's a little rich to me that it's coming from a person who's been known,
Okay,
quite
you know,
honestly, to
I'm
do that.
sorry,
So thank you for your time. I
Thank you,
appreciate it.
thank you,
Thanks a lot.
but, yeah, we're not gonna make
Since my
personal
name was
attacks.
mentioned.
I have a question first, please.
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So could you tell me where the petition is now? Does anybody know?
Well, we were told to remove it, and so I just have
So-
copies, I don't have.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
since the board never voted to remove the petition, and the board voted to have the petition placed at the desk, it
Yes.
seems to me that the petition should be on the desk.
Yeah.
We,
And if you wanted to remove the petition, then we have to go through a process to remove it.
from my understanding, as shared from Donna to me, we got voted on at that meeting, was voted to put the petition out. We put it out on Thursday, that meeting was on a Wednesday, we put it out on Thursday. I got a call on, I believe it was Friday, is that correct? I think you got the call on Friday, but you called me, and you were told to take it down, Donna was told to take it down.
And you were told to take it down by whom?
By
By the
Liz.
chair, okay.
And for our understanding.
With four trustees voting.
She
on it.
called
That
four
was able to
trustees, however, one of the trustees that she called, which was Christine, wasn't at that meeting that night. So she got a vote, but not being present at that meeting, which
So-
I'm not sure if that's okay, but
Well,
I
it
don't know the
wasn't
rules.
a real meeting, we all know that. So
Right.
we accept our spanking for that, and so until the board votes to remove the petition has to be placed with.
Okay, Christine,
Oh.
just one moment. Would someone like to make a motion to remove the?
Nope, you have, it has to be posted.
It's not on the,
Posted on the agenda. I believe. Let's go past this, I'm sorry.
Donna?
I just wanna say that, I mean, you can still go through that process if you want to, but the date for us to submit the petition has passed. So even if we collected signatures, we don't really have
No, never mind.
the place to send them the way it was organized, so, just wanted to share that.
Since my name wasn't mentioned,
do
I
you want me
went
to
in-
start your timer
Go
now?
ahead.
Okay, I didn't know if you were.
Christine Perez, 5 Wesley Drive. I'm here as a citizen. 99% of the time I'm here as a citizen and not as a state representative. When I'm here as a state representative, I will be happy to tell you I'm here as a state representative. I am here as a citizen. I went into the library to see if it had been removed. I didn't harass anybody. I went to see if it was removed. I went and asked at the front desk. I heard there's a petition. Where is it? It's been removed. It was over there. There was a table. I went over to see that it had been removed, okay? So you can do all the inflammatory remarks that you want to make on Facebook. I was told, it was put that I harassed people. That's why I brought up harassment, because it was stated by an elected official on her elective page that I harassed the library staff. That's why I brought it up.
Thank you.
Hold
Hi.
on, I'm just gonna restart the timer, sorry. Okay, go
My
ahead.
name is Ann Finn. I live at 18 Partridge Lane in Londonderry, New Hampshire. And I've worked for the federal government for about 40 years and are well aware of a variety of different processes and what an executive order is. I think the key issue here is to follow the library's process. And I think that's what a lot of people are asking for. If the Board of Trustees voted to have the petition there, then that should have that was it. They voted and the petition should be there, right? I think what happens lots of times in town is there are a lot of informal actions that occur. People sort of ad hoc take informal actions, talk to so-and-so behind the scenes, talk to another person behind the scenes. And I think what people are asking for is transparency and honesty. And if there was a majority of people on the Board of Trustees that voted to have the petition, then the petition stays unless you have another meeting of the Board of Trustees here, who are the body that is governing this library. And granted, any citizen can come into the library and express a point of view. But I think it's very important to Erin or to anybody else here, but I think it's very important to keep our roles and responsibilities clear.
And because a state rep comes in and is upset, any state rep, that doesn't mean that that person has any more authority over this library than anybody else. There's still a citizen of the town and their state rep, that's great. But that doesn't mean that they have control over the library. You all have control over the library, nobody else. And if the vote's taken, the vote's taken. And if you want another vote to include somebody who's not here, then you call another meeting and have that vote. So I think the important thing is to follow the process. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Comments from anyone on the board? Okay.
Hi, I'm Megan Donovan, 45 Chase Road. Just letting you know I'm here as a private citizen and patron of the library. How did Christine Perez find out that the petition was being removed?
We wouldn't know that.
Liz? What I'm asking is, Liz called Donna and had it removed, and then shortly thereafter, Christine Perez came in to check that it was removed. She didn't ask to see the petition, she asked if it was removed. So she already knew it was being removed. So I was just asking where she was involved in this discussion.
I do not believe that I talked to Christine personally, no. We didn't speak to each other.
And may I address?
Yes.
I don't remember, to tell you the truth, how I found out.
So, like a month ago, you had a very short time frame between it being removed and coming in.
I
and
don't
requesting.
She
You
gave her
asked about
permission
the
to ask.
petition, you asked if it was removed, that's the wording you used.
Yeah,
when you
I
did.
don't recall.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you walked into the building, the first thing you said is, I'm here to see if the
Yeah.
petition has been removed. What I'm asking
Okay.
is
Okay,
where you found
Megan.
that. What I'm asking where she found out, and that is fine. I was clarifying what I said because she was talking over me. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, I think you've made your point,
Which is fine.
and I don't
just-
have an answer to that.
That is
Okay,
fine.
that's-
I just wanted to know where she found out because
Yeah.
it was not very long after you, so somebody had to have talked to her.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know who spoke with her, who was involved with the decision. If it wasn't you, was it anybody else in this room?
I didn't know what was happening,
We can't, I'm sorry, we don't have that information. I don't know how it happened, okay?
Hi. John Farrell, 4 Hancock Drive. Madam Chairwoman, would you allow me to try to be of some assistance? The meeting that you had on the telephone was an illegal meeting. So what happened is that you tried to take a consensus. When you would have to have the meeting, and I know you're new at this, you have to post that meeting, and then the public has to know about it. So Trustee Hendricks is correct. Place it on your agenda at some point. I hear that the petition is not valid anymore. Correct the record, and I think you can probably move forward from there. And I'm sure, and I know that you're learning this as you're going, and I appreciate that. But you just can't do things like that. God only knows I've been accused of it a million times, so I know that you can't.
Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
your point is, I think someone had said that it's like a moot point now or something?
Well, we no longer can submit signatures for
Okay.
this
All right.
particular petition.
So then basically, we acknowledged that there was an error. I certainly want to apologize to everyone. We will be very careful next time that if we have a problem, we will call and we will give the notice through the town that we'll call an emergency meeting to have any discussion if we need to change anything. Okay, and that's the best I can tell you right now. Okay, thank you. Public comment again?
Glenn on the 6th level. Look, I came for a totally different thing, but this kind of piqued my interest. If you go back to the minutes, when this was voted in, the vote was 3-1-2. 3 people were for it, one person was against it and 2 people abstained. It was a tie vote. So you didn't vote to put it on. It was a tie vote. Couldn't put it on. So there's nothing to take down.
Point of order, if you abstain, it means you're agreeing with the majority, and the majority voted yes, so that means they went with the majority.
You know what? That teaches us,
Well,
don't
And
abstain.
as
If
far
you
as the
can't say
abstaining part,
yes right away, just say no.
I have a big problem when people abstain from votes because they don't say why they're abstaining.
Yeah,
You abstain from a vote on the planning board because you're talking about a development that you're the realtor for and you're selling the property. I'm abstaining because I have a financial interest in it. If you don't wanna vote on something because it's political or not political, then you shouldn't be on the board. You should
Yeah.
go someplace else, but.
and the reason, and I was the one who abstained.
No, we had 2 abstains.
No, I abstained as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because I
okay.
think it's a violation of the Byrd Amendment.
I wasn't here, so that's why it's.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you right now,
What is your amendment?
we were
Byrd.
presented,
Clarify.
what, I'm sorry, second.
What is this?
The Byrd Amendment. Senator Byrd. Yes.
Can we get a little detail on
You
that?
can watch the meeting.
Okay. We now know that being abstaining will hurt the vote either way, and we will try to make, basically, we shouldn't have even called it if we weren't ready to really vote on it yet, okay? We should not have called a vote on it if we were not ready. And I personally was not ready. I didn't have time we were given to it, when I picked up my stuff when we came to the meeting. I did not have time to read it and to assimilate, to know what it was saying. And so that's why I abstained, okay? It's a learning experience, that's all I can tell you. Yes,
Good evening, Debbie DeRochers, 25 Royal Lane. I'm a little confused, so please bear with me. What I'm hearing is that I'm not sure of any board or commission or committee in the town that makes a decision and 1 or 2 people call and say, we don't agree with that. You're gonna all of a sudden decide we need to have an emergency meeting and we have to discuss it again. Is that what I'm hearing? Because that doesn't make any sense to me at
no,
all.
you're hearing that the people who voted on it didn't really assimilate or even see what it said, it was so quick.
That's their problem. They shouldn't have voted.
And again.
I'm sorry, but that's my opinion.
And I agree with you totally, and my last statement before you stood up was, we should not have called for a vote if we weren't ready.
I mean, if the planning board
Yeah.
does something, they vote on it, it's done, it's something, someone calls up and says, geez, I didn't read it the right way. We have representatives that vote on bills that have never been read. We have people that, she couldn't change that up there because she didn't read it and voted on it. So I don't understand why it would be that you could get a couple phone calls and decide that something had to be done about it. That's what I'm worried about.
Okay.
Because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. I understand you guys are learning, and it's totally understandable. Everybody here is volunteering, and I think it's a great thing. But when something kind of goes awry that bad, then I'm concerned.
And I believe that I've addressed that, and I said we will.
So in the
correct it
future,
in the past.
if a vote is done,
Yeah,
can we be confident that we're not gonna have some emergency meeting that we don't know about because it's not something that we see, not all of us will go to the Facebook page constantly, look if there might be an emergency meeting that we could come here. So I'm just not sure, I just wanna be very well aware that this is not gonna happen again in the future.
and again, I stated.
Because a couple people didn't like the
Yeah.
vote.
No, again, I stated that we should not be voting on something if we haven't had time to read it and know what we're voting on. And that's the crux of the matter. So in the future, I can guarantee you that we'll make sure that before we vote on anything,
That's
that we have
disgusting.
full knowledge and that we feel comfortable voting on it. Yes,
I think this has come up historically just because we tend to not get information, and there have been a number of times where we've gotten it last minute. So I think we do have to enforce that 5-day before a meeting we get the information rule.
7 days.
7 days.
I would like to say that I did email this to the board on March 24th. The meeting was on April 2nd.
So, you know, you can't, it just can't
So,
be,
I'm
it can't be,
not
this is
responsible
what I'm
for
saying, it's
if you
not.
can't read your emails.
Yes, Beth?
I also wanna make sure I'm hearing right, so that I can record it right. Are you saying that you were upset with the non-meeting meeting that was called?
Right,
Because-
why would anything that you guys
Okay,
vote on?
Because Liz, you're talking about how people didn't know what they were reading when they voted, but those are two different conversations.
Right, it's two different things, so I'm saying,
So
if
you
something's
acknowledge
voted
what
on
she's saying
and it's a
about
done
it's a
deal,
protocol
nobody
change.
should be
I just
calling
wanna make sure
and
we're getting
changing that. You know, cause you could have 5 people, I personally wouldn't have signed a petition, cause I don't agree with it.
Okay.
So, but I'm saying
Okay.
you should have had the right to do that, and that's what bothers me, whether it's, I don't care about the politics involved, I'm talking about having a meeting, the trustees voted, and it was a done deal, and then a couple people who didn't like it called up and made a stink, and I could say more, but I'm not going to. And that's when all these phone calls were made, and then it was, I understand that was a process that's learned now not to happen again, but it shouldn't have happened in the first place, because a couple people called. That's all that's all I have to say.
Thank you. I think we've discussed this enough. Yes?
I'd like to make one request. I'm Laura Reinhold, 77 Pendleton Lane. I'm an employee of the library, but I'd like to speak as a citizen.
Yes. Yeah.
I would like you folks to check into that thing with the 2 vote yes, 1 votes no, and 2 abstains, that's a tie. I would like you to look into that, please, to make sure that's the case, because that could affect how you vote in the future on things. I'm not sure that that's right, what the gentleman said, so. I
Okay,
mean,
I'm sorry,
It's,
can
yes,
you-
yes, she wants us to make sure that we look into, abstaining and what abstaining actually means. So just
Okay,
yes.
yeah, okay,
That's all.
yeah. And to address you, the strategy would be, okay, that I've been reading, you know,
Okay.
the strategy is, if you are not ready to say yes, you should say no, because abstain gets nothing, okay? So
would like you
it's,
to look into
you
that,
either
please.
don't call the call, or if you're not, you shouldn't agree to something unless you've been able to process it.
I'd like you to look into specifically what an abstaining means.
What I said, yes. My boss said yes.
Hold on,
Patrick.
I just wanna make sure okay.
Don't worry, I won't even need a fraction.
Okay.
Patrick Alazim, 22 Summer Drive. I'm going to begin with a point of information, pardon my ignorance. Does this board operate according to Robert's Rules of Order?
It does not.
Okay, in that case, then the rest of my comment is moot.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, you did well.
Donna?
No, according to your bylaws, you do operate under Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay.
That was added in the revised one, which hasn't been approved
No.
yet. I
And
don't think
the-
it was in the
we've-
original one.
It
Just
wasn't
to
the
let you
original.
know, I've talked to the Secretary of State's legal team and to our management team, and the town does not follow Robert's rules, and it's not recommended by the Secretary of State. And we've discussed that that has to be taken out of the records, that I've already talked to Erin, that we don't follow them, and asked her to have them removed from the trustees book.
All right.
Okay, we have a charter that is the rules we need to follow. Sometimes I think the charter needs to be reworked. I don't think it covers everything it needs to be, but that's what we're going on, a charter, yes?
Currently, this is the set of bylaws that the board has to operate under because you haven't revised them yet. Under Article 3, Section 1.4, it says, proceedings of all meetings shall be governed by Robert's Rules of Order.
In that case, I'd like to complete my comment, please.
Go ahead.
According to Robert's Rules of Order, robertsrules.com, you can look it up for yourself. Do abstention votes count? The phrase abstention votes is an oxymoron, an abstention being a refusal to vote. To abstain means to refrain from voting, and as a consequence, there can be no such thing as an abstention vote. I repeat, this is verbatim off the Robert's Rules website. In the usual situation, where the rules require either a, quote, majority vote, unquote, or a, quote, 2/3 vote, unquote, abstentions have absolutely no effect on the outcome of the vote, since what is required is either a majority or 2/3 of the votes cast. On the other hand, if the rules explicitly require a majority or 2/3 of the members present, emphasis in the original, or 2/3 of the entire membership, an abstention will have the same effect as a no vote. Even in such a case, however, an abstention is not a vote and is not counted as a vote. I just figured I'd add the clarification from what Robert's rules say, because I am in a separate context learning these myself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest that we move along.
Move on.
Okay, we've got a huge,
Are we ending?
Sorry, just
Correct.
something separate.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Caroline Edwards, 5 Tanager Way. Here to voice strong support for the Leach Library under the leadership of the director and assistant director and amazing staff. Recently, I've heard proposals to scale back services, deny funding for critical programming, like the summer offerings families rely on, and even distance the library from professional associations like the ALA. Frankly, I'm baffled. Am I correct? Did the trustees vote against already available funds that exist specifically to enrich library services to support summer programming?
The library trustees voted not to use trustee funds, which is very limited right now, after Erin had assured us that there was enough money in the budget that we were able to have all of the programming paid for. So that's the situation. It was what part we're gonna take it from. Erin guaranteed that she had in the yearly budget, in the annual budget, enough money to cover the programming. So we chose not to use the trustee funds at this time, and it was also noted at that time, we are possibly losing some very important services, okay? Services that we can't use the budget to replace, but we can use the trustee fund to replace. So we're reserving the trustee fund. If we get cut back on state and federal funding, we're gonna have to use the trustee fund. We're not gonna have money in the budget for that, but we had enough money to cover, and quite frankly, programming should be designed to be able to fit in our budget. If you're going over and you need the trustee money to pay for the programming, then it's not an efficient use of the money, okay? So did I answer your question?
I guess you did, but
Can I just clarify?
Yeah.
So at that meeting, I did express that we did have enough money in our budget to cover the summer reading program. It would go over in that line item, but our bottom line would be fine. I did ask the trustees if they would like to sponsor any programs using that trustee account. They declined instead of just using our budget from the town, and that's what we're doing.
And in our bylaws and charter, to point out to you that the board is given the right to allow the director to take money from other line items to balance it out. And that's right it writes it right in our charter, okay? So we have the ability, and we did give her the permission to take the money out where she need, from another area that she had.
I just think that cutting out summer programming, to me, it's not fiscal caution. I think it's a disservice to a community that continues to show up, sign up, and speak up for these programs year after year, my children included. Even more concerning is the growing undercurrent of censorship, the push to control which books can be accessed, where they're shelved, or whether they're allowed at all. Let's be clear, parental rights do not mean limiting access for everyone else's child. That's not protecting children, that's policing ideas. The ALA, vilified by some, is not some radical cabal. It's a professional network that helps librarians stay informed, trained, and committed to upholding intellectual freedom. Opposing membership there is like asking a doctor to skip continuing education. Makes no sense, unless your goal is to quietly erode trust, knowledge, and professionalism. Let's not be fooled. Budget cuts, program dismissals, and anti-ALA sentiment are just censorship in khakis, and they don't reflect the values of the broader Londonderry community. each library deserves our full-throated support,
I'm
not just
sorry,
for what
you've
it
gone
does,
over the
Nope,
time.
she's got 30 seconds.
but
30 seconds
for what
gone.
it stands for: access, learning, and freedom. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Can I
So I just wanted to add a comment to that when we made that vote to not give the library any money for the summer funding, the reasoning behind it was because we're trying to correct the budget and the line items, because we're trying to figure out how much money we need exactly for each line item. In the past years, there have been money taken from one line item into another one, so that the budget has never been actually displayed accurately, because we were taking money from one line item into another. Yes, it's a bottom line budget, but we should know, and it's our responsibility to have a correct budget. So the reasoning behind the trustees not providing money was because Erin had said they will have money. So yes, it will get taken from the bottom line, but it will be still reflected in the current and appropriate line item, which will show that it's going over. So the next time we do budgeting for that line item, we will see exactly how much money is needed. So that's
Okay,
it.
thank you. Yes, Maura.
And I just wanna add, I don't know where you heard that there was any discussions on books, but there have been no discussions on any books or taking any books off the shelves at all.
We, as a board, we have not voted on anything about removing books from the library or anything, so.
More rumors just being circulated as usual.
Okay, yes?
Well, speaking of rumors, I do hope the board, this is Azra Palo, 17 Bancroft
Name and
Road.
address, please.
She just said it.
Azra Palo, 17 Bancroft Road. Speaking of rumors, I hope that the trustees can clarify for me about programming as well, not the cost, but in terms of the trustees saying yes or no to certain programs instead of letting the staff decide that alongside the director.
There's been no discussion on that either.
Okay.
Kate Burbridge, 21 Kelly Road. I want to speak tonight about my support for the library, but especially the summer reading program. Last year, the summer reading program, the summer reading program is the most popular program that the library puts on every summer. Last summer, 53,940 items were checked out, and over 1,000 people signed up to participate from all different age groups. 107 programs were put on, and over 6,300 people attended. 23,000 patrons walked through the door between June, July, and August, representing about a third of all of the visitors that visited during, it's their busiest time of the year is the summer reading program. It's pretty important to the library, and they spend a lot of time and energy, building it and volunteering for it. And, from my understanding, the trustee account has over $40,000 in it, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Just over, yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned that you want to hold some money in reserve for an emergency. Do you know how much those emergencies could possibly cost if we lose that funding? How much funding have we gotten for these things in the past?
Okay, first of all, the trustee money, other than it not being, it's a finite, okay? Second of all, the trustee money is never been intended to be used to supplement overage in the library. We have to live within our means, okay? It's our job as the trustees. If you're all here and you're all ratepayers and citizens of this town, you all should be concerned about how money is spent. I don't question that programming is wonderful and it's an integral part of the library. What I question is over budgeting money that is not in our budget for programming. You can't, I don't care what department you go to, you cannot overspend your budget.
I understand.
You know, so that's basically our job, is to make sure we turn over at the end of the year, at the end of the fiscal year, on June 30th, that we're not in the red, and that we're not asking the town to pick up our overspending.
I promise you I understand how the budget works.
Okay.
So if we have all that money in the account, last year the trustees, from the trustees account, donated $4,100 to summer programming. They did donate money last year, I saw in the meeting minutes. And so, you know, if there's, why the sudden change of heart, especially if, you know, because I do understand how the budget works, if we go over the line items, we can clearly see from one fiscal year to the next where we went over, and Justin Campo is doing a fabulous job really figuring out how we right-size the budget and fix everything over the last few years. And so all of this being true, that sentiment of we need to just budget what we have, it rings kind of hollow to me, especially with the money that was donated last year and all the work that's being done on the town side. So, you know, that's why my question is about how much we're trying to save for an emergency. Are we over budgeting for this supposed emergency? I want to make sure that, you know, we're doing the right things, especially given, you know, the circumstances. So,
okay, first of all, yes, it is different from last year. Last year we were not facing loss of federal funding and loss of state funding. Okay, there's a lot of programs involved in that. Okay, the interlibrary exchange, we do belong to a group, so that instead of 200 libraries, we can only exchange now. If they lose the funding on the state library, we would lose everything but the 14 town interchange that we belong to now. Okay, we would lose things like the books for hearing impaired, for reading impaired. There's all kinds of services that are provided, and they all come at a different price. Okay, first of all, you should be able to live within, and we did. The team did live within their means. They have the money to pay for the programming. If they don't use that money to pay for the programming, it's going back to the town on June 30th. Okay, so we're going to, so rather than, if they don't use their budget, that money doesn't carry into next year for us. It goes back to the town, okay? What we said is, and again, I'm gonna only say it one more time, okay? The trustee fund is finite. We're looking at a lot of risk at this time. The budget for this library had enough money and could be covered. Nothing would have been cut, okay? And so that's, our decision was made.
okay. My next point is, you know, I was thinking about.
Your time was up, but
Sorry.
My time.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Sorry.
My second thought
Okay.
was, I know the petition ad nauseum, but one of the things that I was looking into regarding the petition is a lot of libraries have policies on petitions specific to what they want to do with them. For example, the Denver Public Library has a room specific that they'll put petitions in where people can go in, they can sign, it's non-disruptive. My suggestion would be that the library trustees create a policy around petitions where they're allowed to be, you know, whether or not, for all related petitions, you know, like if they want to even do petitions at all. And so that's my suggestion moving forward is just create a policy, you know, about petitions in general. That way you're not voting on each individual petition and whether or not it goes up to the desk or where it goes or whatever, but just a blanket policy on the petition.
Thank you for that. And actually, we have our bylaws meeting is gonna be in 2 weeks. It hasn't been posted, but we couldn't get it in tonight. And that's exactly the type of thing that needs to go in the bylaws.
Okay, great.
Okay, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Liz, Laura has a comment?
Yes, Maura.
So I just wanted to add that the trustee fund, we put a lot of money into Gmilks last year, we took a lot out to pay for the onboarding, and it doesn't have a steady revenue stream. So there's no revenue coming in, which is why we have to be careful with the funds.
Okay. Thank you, Maura. Thank you for that. Okay, can we move, is there anything other than, it's getting really late, so it's gonna be a long meeting, but, are we done with public comment right now? Okay, thank you. Then I think we'd like to move to new business. Oh, yes, thank you. We do. No, do we ever vote? Do we come in with public comment?
No, we don't need to vote.
Okay. All right. Erin, did you want to, oh wait, no, I'm gonna start with the, new business. Hang on. That's Erin, right? You're gonna start with that?
We don't have any new business.
Huh?
No new business.
We do have new business.
We do? It's not
Yeah.
on the agenda.
I was told not to put it. didn't want it on.
What, we were following the town rules, okay? And they, such that if, and we can vote to change this, but they have new business and they leave it blank. That way they can bring in things up until the last minute. Now, again, Donna pointed out to us that it might be better to have new business and then have other, so that we can bring in other business that's not listed in the agenda. So we tried it this way, and we're probably going to start putting in the new business, but also put in the other things so that we can, you know, people at the last minute, if something comes up, we can still talk about it. Donna?
I just want to note that I did look at the town council's most recent agenda, and they did list items under new business this week.
Yes, yeah, this one they did, yeah.
So
one before was blank.
I don't think it's following the town. And I also wanted to just share that I did say this to Liz already, that I am personally concerned about the transparency, that the members of the public did not know what you were discussing in new business tonight. So how could they come prepared to comment on it?
And again, I just said that we have addressed that after your concern, and we will be we'll be stating new business, but we'll also give us the caveat of other, so that if something comes up that needs to be talked, it will be, okay? Thank you.
So I do have,
Okay.
I do have new business. I don't know if it's
You,
appropriate.
you have a lot of new.
I don't, well, I think it should go quick, but, so the new business items that I have, is the carpet cleaning quote. So in your packet, there are 3 quotes from 3 different carpet, cleaning companies. We do try to get our carpets cleaned at least once a year. Ideally, we try to do 2. We also include some upholstery in that. We haven't gotten it done this year, so I do believe we need to get the carpet cleaned. I reached out to get 3 quotes. They are presented to you, and there's one from A1 Phoenix Cleaning Services, which is our current cleaning company that we use now. The Stanley Steamer one, and the Best Qualified Cleaning is the company that we have used in the past. Even prior to me, that was the company that was used. And we used them last year. So due to the board's interest in our quotes, I did reach out and got 2 more. The difference between A1 Phoenix, which is the cheapest one, which, as I mentioned, is our cleaning company, they're $2,680. Stanley Steamer is $2,778.75. And Best Qualified was $4,715.25, and that also would need to add the break room for them, where the other quotes include the break room and upholstery. So, does the board want to make a motion, or?
I have a question.
Of course.
Yes.
When they're talking about this tile and grout cleaning, what specifically is that referencing?
Which one are you looking at?
So 2 of them reference tile and grout cleaning, and I'm wondering, is that the bathrooms or is that something else?
We don't do we don't do the tile and grout.
Okay.
It could be a standard thing that's in their, the contract. We simply just do the carpets on the main floor and in the break room, and we do some of the upholstery, which is the chairs that the patrons sit in, both in the children's room and on the main floor.
Okay, I'll ask first on the Stanley Steamer and the Best Qualified Cleaner. Are they basically the same service? Is one
So
advanced?
all of them were given the same square footage and the same amount of furniture to clean.
Okay.
So I don't know why they're so varied, to be honest.
Yes, I know.
I mean, obviously Best Qualified has done it, in the past. We were happy with them, we had no issues with them, so I can only speak with my experience with them. I know Stanley Steamer, that's what they do, they clean carpets, that's how they run their business. They actually came to the building, took a look around, were able to give me that quote. A1 Phoenix, they are our cleaning services, but I have not had experience with them cleaning our carpets or upholstery. So, if there's a preference from the board.
Well, I mean, to me, it appears that Stanley Steamer has a good reputation. We know them, okay? And Best Qualified does too, but we're spending a lot more money we're spending over $2,000 more for best qualified, right?
I would also like to note that Stanley Steamer did, was able to accommodate, it would have to be on a Saturday after we close, so that Sunday it would have time to dry, because we're closed on Sunday. So Stanley Steamer did express that they can come at any time, no issues. Best Qualified has done that for us in the past, because we've used in the past. A1 Phoenix, I have not got confirmation that that's something that they would use to accommodate. So I know for a fact that Stanley Steamer would, though, because I did ask them.
Does anyone wanna make a,
I think the difference is about $100 between Stanley Steamer and A1 Phoenix.
yeah,
So,
I'll make a
Yes.
motion. Just because Stanley Steamer is a better known name, I'd like to make a motion to accept the quote, for Stanley Steamer to do the work for $27.78.75.
Second.
okay, do we wanna vote on that, or do we need a discussion?
no,
I have one question.
oh, sure.
Erin, this cost is already built into the budget and we have enough money for.
Because we've done this in the past.
Thank you, yeah, okay. Nancy?
Nancy Hendricks.
I, Liz Thomas.
Well, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, I noticed the A1 put that they have they're insured and bonded on this, but the others don't have it. Did you ask them if they're all insured and bonded?
It's pretty common
I
business
didn't
practice.
ask,
I would
but
be shocked if they weren't
I believe
insured.
Stanley Steamer is, and Best Qualified, I believe it is. But I didn't specifically ask them. I don't have, I just have the quote, I don't have their contract in front of me for Stanley Steamer.
Is this something that you would like to change the motion and add it that they are insured and bonded? When we're doing contract with them?
It's really common business practice. I would be
I know,
absolutely
yeah.
shocked. And generally speaking, it's not common business practice to present a quote or a request for quote and include your W-9 and your bonding credentials or your insurance.
Yeah. Okay. So
Where
can we
do we leave off?
continue?
I
We're
lost
right in
it.
the middle of a vote.
Okay.
We've already voted.
Christine,
I, Christine Fitzgerald.
Maura,
I'm Maura Ryan.
okay, the motion passes.
Thank you. The next item that I had for new business was our cloud library dues. Just to have a little back information on this. We're part of the GMILKS consortium. Part of that agreement with them is that we would donate, in a sense, to the, I guess you could call it, software for cloud library, which is very similar to Libby and Hoopla, which is what we offer here at the library. We now get cloud library as being part of the GMILKS consortium, excuse me. Every library in the consortium donates a certain amount of money that they are comfortable with to the cloud library to help support that platform and support materials to be added to that platform. The range, I got the information that the range from last year for the consortium went from $1,000 to $25,000 as each library different donated. Obviously, probably the larger ones, I would say Manchester did the $25,000. They're a larger library. Some smaller libraries did 4, some did 1,000, and then there were also options where they did 2 different pledges throughout the years, so they kind of spaced it out, so their total was that amount. So I'm asking the board tonight what they would like to donate to as their pledge to the cloud library. This pledge I would only be asking for this year. Next year, we would use adjust our budget accordingly with our material spending to include the amount for them.
Okay, I have one question.
Of course.
My understanding then is you're saying that we need to use trustee funds because it's not built into the budget this year.
I am asking the trustees to use their trustee funds and to donate, to make a pledge for the cloud library. It is part of our contract with the GMILKS consortium. The average cost, I did a total of all the pledges, and the average cost was around $6,800. We can choose any amount that we are comfortable with. There's no required amount, and there's no judgment with the consortium if you do less than another bill. Like, nobody, in fact, I'm looking through, I think nobody did the same exact amount as a pledge. So,
Did you in fact, because you said you were gonna call some libraries and see what they were giving?
I have the list of what they gave last
Oh,
year.
what they gave
Yeah,
last year,
yeah.
okay.
I don't have the list of what they gave because some people are still pledging.
Yes, yes.
So I don't have the final list, but I do have the
Thank you.
list of what they gave last year.
So here's my challenge with this being under new business and not having it be posted. We're being asked to expend money tonight and vote on money tonight that has not been publicly posted on our agenda.
Would you
So
like to move this to next
I
month?
would.
Okay.
Is that gonna create a hardship for you?
We would need to have a vote next month,
Okay, okay.
because it has to be within
Yes.
in the fiscal year.
Okay. The other thing is that we're gonna need a meeting mid-May because we have so many things we've got
Yes,
to
we
approve.
do.
So we can move it up 2 weeks, okay? And so we can we're gonna defer this for, yes,
Can you please send out copies of the contract too, so we can look at that, for review?
Which contract?
it's actually
the
in your,
Gmails.
the Gmails.
This is in your binder.
It's in your
Is
binder.
that the complete one?
This is the agreement to join, and it is listed in the agreement to join, and it is in your binder.
Because we're also paying them for software, correct?
Well, that's part of our
Our
membership fee.
licensing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is an addition, they expect a donation in addition to,
I don't remember that being discussed when we were initially discussing the whole G-Milks thing as an additional expense. I thought it was kind of a one and done, and then there was
Set
just gonna be
price,
money in the budget every year to pay for it. I don't recall having a discussion, and I could be wrong, that there was gonna be, additional money that was expected from us on this every
and
year.
I do not recall that either, okay, but we're gonna defer it.
Okay.
We're gonna look at the contract
Yep.
and we'll vote on it in 2 weeks, okay?
So everybody has a copy of this in their binder, and it
Yep.
is mentioned in this agreement.
Yes.
So if they can take a look at it.
And just to let you know, other states, I've talked to people in other states who are involved with consortiums and they're running it, and they said that's not uncommon, that there's that for things like Hoopla and things like that they asked for a donation from the members to keep those services going, okay? Where the salaries and stuff are based on our cost for the year. And so, that's all I can say. But we're gonna defer this and we'll look into it more, okay? Thank you.
The next item that I had under new business was the replacement of printers for reference and technical services, and Donna has information for that, and it is in your packet.
Yes. So we have two printers that are the same model. One is in the reference office, one's in the tech services office. The tech services one has completely stopped working. It's been out of service for probably close to a month. And this is actually an exact example of what I brought up with the purchasing policy. This is a piece of equipment that has really made things inefficient in the time that it's been out of service. But we waited to bring it to you because that is what you said you wanted us to do. The reference office one is still working, but I would say it's probably on its last legs. And they're both over 10 years old. They've both lived their life. They've given us every penny back. They're used daily, frequently. And so we spoke to IT, and they said that the closest model that's newer is this one that was attached to the agenda, was the HP 4201DN. This is what they would recommend to replace, and they told us to include the HP Direct price because that is like the highest that we would have to pay. They would do the looking around for us for a lower price. So this may actually be less expensive, but I wanted to give you the most it could possibly be. The other option you have is, since the reference printer is still somewhat functional, you could ask us to split this into 2 fiscal years. So if we paid the tech services one now, since it's the one that's not operational, and then we could wait to buy the second one next year, the risk there is that the price could go up. So
Or that the other one fails right away.
or that it fails sooner.
Yeah, very true.
So, but you do have that option. So I wanted to make sure you knew.
And the total price for 2 of them would be?
Just adding that together, so 1,100.
Okay. And are you looking for approval to take that money out of the existing budget, that you have extra money for it? Or are you looking for a trustee donation?
So this is entirely your decision. It would come out, if it was paid through the town budget, it would come out of the equipment line, which this year does not have a designated budget. So it's coming off the bottom line essentially. And there is some other things that we've had to purchase equipment wise this year already, so there is money expended there. So it's really up to you how you'd like to pay for it. If you would prefer not to take the risk and pay for it from the trustees account, you can. If you want us to move forward with the equipment line, we can.
Conversation, ladies?
I have concerns that they're already short-staffed over a busy summer, and then they possibly might be down 2 machines, so, that's concerning.
I agree with you. I think we need to replace both machines if we're gonna do it. I mean, that's my
Down 1
opinion.
machine.
That's only my opinion, that, you know, we already have one that doesn't work, one that's on its last leg, you know, and we're talking about $1,100. So either way, I mean, my opinion would be, you know, this is a thriving organization. We need to, you know, we need to have our services going constantly. We can't be at risk for, yeah, we've already lost one printer and we're trying to kill the second one by overuse, okay? So, but I'd like to hear everyone else's opinion.
But do you want that to come out of the trustees account? Or are we okay with them overspending that line item because we don't have anything in it, you said?
Correct.
Right, but there's still money in the bottom budget,
Right,
I think.
right, I know, we're a bottom line budget,
No,
but we were just grousing about that, we were all just grousing about
Yeah.
that a half an hour ago.
And the trustees have to approve of expenditures coming out of a different line item. And I'm personally comfortable with that, as long as, you know, that Erin knows that we're still gonna be in the black if we expend that $1,100.
We'll take it out of the trustees account, okay?
I think it'll be helpful to take it out of the current budget, just to show that we need X amount of money in the next budget
So
for
overspend
equipment.
that line item is what you're saying?
We're overspending it on multiple other ones anyway.
Yeah,
If
a
we're
lot of
I know, but
trying
we're trying
write
to
the
get out of
budget-
that
No, I know, but
practice.
if we're trying to
Based
write
on
the
what you were
budget-
saying an hour ago.
No, I know, but that's why we did what we did at the last meeting about the summer programming. It got overspent for that line item, but there was still money for it. But when we go to do the next budget, we'll see how much that was overspent by, so we can have a better sense, a better figure moving forward for the next budget. So we're not doing this every year. So that was my
So we're okay
reasoning
with
is-
overspending for the printers, but not necessarily for summer programming?
We did do
No,
it
we
for
did.
summer
We did.
programming.
I
We've
thought- but I
expended,
thought-
we've
I
overexpended
thought
a
we
lot.
voted that
Yeah,
one down
that-
last,
Huh?
I thought we voted against that.
No,
No,
we
we
voted to do
voted
it.
to
Trustees
take
Trustees
the money
account.
out of the
Okay,
budget,
okay.
because we had the
Sorry,
money
I
in the
missed a
budget.
meeting.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Tomorrow.
What if we just split the difference? We buy 2 machines and we take one out of the trustee account, we take one out of the budget.
I'm fine with that. The other consideration is, we will be hitting one of those 2 budgets with some kind of a contribution, you know, in 2 weeks for, you know, for, Gmails, so, you know, I guess either way, you know, I mean, would you like someone make a motion? Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we purchase 2 of these printers recommended by Erin and overspend the line item. That's what I would recommend.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, vote.
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Liz Thomas, aye.
Beth Maranello,
Hi, Christine Fitzgerald.
I, Maura Ryan.
Okay,
That's amazing. Okay. Next item under my new business was the congressional database quote. This is also Donna. This was emailed to you all with a trial, reminded of you today, and also probably a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully you all had enough time to take a look at it. This was a request by a patron, so go Donna.
Yes. We received a request from a patron. The reason why I'm bringing it to you is because the database, the money we have spent for databases has already been spent for this fiscal year.
because, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
It's already been, the
The
money.
databases are already spent for the fiscal year.
Oh, yeah.
So it's up to you if you want to fund it, if you want to wait, whatever. So I just wanted to share the patron could not, I did invite the patron that asked for this, to this meeting. They were unable to attend tonight. So instead of that, I figured I would share, they wrote a request out to me. So I would share their reasoning for it essentially, which I did share some of in the email.
And this is one patient.
One patron.
One person.
Yep.
Yes.
One patron.
One patron, thank you.
Okay, so they wrote, Donna, please advise of the best way for Leech Library members to access the congressional transcripts for the current 119th Congress for the year 2025 to 2026. There are 2 commercial services available to the public, including Congressional Quarterly and Bloomberg Government Transcripts. The historic pace of change in American governance makes access to source material important for all engaged citizens, but unfortunately CQ and BGT are cost prohibitive for individuals. These 2 commercial organizations provide essentially same-day transcripts of each of the U.S. House and Senate committees and subcommittees. Federal channels such as Congress.gov and Government Printing Office offer only select transcripts, typically months or years after the subject hearing, rendering them more historical than informative. I look forward to Leech providing access via subscription or through your affiliated library or educational networks. So after receiving this, I did look into what our options were as a public library, and the one I found that would really fit our need the most was through ProQuest, which we actually already subscribed to one database through ProQuest, so it's an interface that is already familiar to a lot of our patrons, I would say. So this particular database would meet the need of the transcripts being available more frequently than on Congress.gov, for example. However, it also includes a lot of information about current issues. So if you looked at the trial at all, when you go to log in, the interface is very visual, I would say. It really lists out some current issues that are discussed at the government level that people can click on, and then they can see all sorts of, I would say, unbiased information that they can then take that information and make a decision themselves on what they think about it, which, in my opinion, is very important for a public library to provide. We do that frequently through print materials, but this would give us a digital outlet for that too. So I wanted to give you the quote. The quote in total is, for 1 year, $1,872.42. In my email, I also shared that we did consider possibly reaching out to the schools to see if they wanted to share a subscription. However, in my asking ProQuest about that, we didn't even reach out to the schools. They said that they have to work with schools with a separate contract, so there would not be any cost savings if we did. We can't just like split it. So that's unfortunate, but we did look at that option.
Now, you said you got a letter from one patron.
Yes.
How many people have expressed in the last 6 months access to this? Approximately.
This is the only one.
Just one. Okay. I will mention that I did some research, and I actually spoke with the librarian at the state library. Okay, and I asked if they provided this service, and they did not. Okay, and I asked them why, and they said, quite frankly, there's not a demand out there. It's $1,800 to $1,900 a year, and you're spending that on 1 or 2 patrons. So you're spending, like, say, $600 for 3 patrons. You're spending per patron, if it's only 2, $800, $900. So they said there's other sources that .gov and stuff that they can get the information, but as the state library does not subscribe to it and does not feel it's cost effective. So that's I just wanted to know what other sources do you have, and why is it really in demand or something? And I feel like if one patron's asked for something and it's per year almost $2,000, I just don't feel like we can get a lot more out of that $2,000 buying many books that multiple patrons will use. But that's only my opinion. Discussion?
can I respond to you?
Yes, yeah.
So I would say that books will not meet this patron's need or request because they're looking specifically for government transcripts. We can't buy those in print. What's available online through congress.gov is, I've been keeping track, it's usually about a month outdated. So the free resource, it's not up to date, and this patron did specify that they were concerned about that. They wanted more up to date information. My idea on this is that yes, it's one patron, but we don't have the usage data to back up how many patrons would be interested. So my suggestion is, if you are somehow willing to fund it, that you could promote it kind of like we did with our new museum pass this year. You could promote it as a limited time database, so that the public knows immediately it's only going to be there for 1 year. And then next year we can come back to you with actual usage numbers, so you could use that to decide whether to renew or not. That's just a suggestion.
I would have to agree with that, to get those statistics to see if there is an interest in the community. This is something where we've asked, the Friends have done this in the past, where we have them sponsor something, for example, for a year or whatever that is, and then not sponsor it again next year, whatever. So you guys could sponsor it using the trustee account. I know we brought that up a lot tonight, but using the trustee account, sponsor it for that limited time usage, as a special thing that the trustees were sponsoring, and then we would get those statistics, and we would visit this again at the expiration date or close to it, to be able to provide that to you. And if we see only 5 people used it, then we know that maybe we don't renew it, and we go from there.
Yes, Maura.
So I did some research on the congressional transcripts, and I found there were almost 50 different sources that were free to get this information. I was just curious, what's the urgency that this particular patron has to get this so quickly?
Well, it's from what I read earlier. That's all I can't speak to their answer aside from that. They said that the historic pace of change in American governance makes access to source material important for all engaged citizens. But unfortunately, the 2 sources that he was looking at are cost prohibitive for individuals. I would also add that one of my reasons for even deciding to bring it to you is that we're very aware of the community and the fact that everyone is very highly educated and really motivated to be aware, and especially be involved. Like, look how many people are here tonight. And that's something that I felt I had to bring it to you because of that. We know the demographics, like that's our job.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe there would be interest if we promoted it, but obviously the other funding question is up to you.
Yes,
It's when you asked a question about, how many people have asked for this, I would have asked for it. I didn't even know that existed.
Mm-hmm.
And to Maura's point, why that sense of urgency? Well, because by the time we learn about something, if it's already passed, like you can't proactively act upon it, but if you understand that, they're on the first reading of something, you have time to respond, educate yourself, respond. So I would definitely use this. I love the idea of the timely subscription, just to see if people pick up on it. But I think with good promoting, I think that's awesome.
Do we have any other comments? No. Okay. Someone want to make a motion?
I had a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, I mean, if we did it in our next budget, that would just mean waiting 2 months?
Yep.
If we waited to put it through there?
Yeah, we're talking about 2 months.
So,
and then you can be included through that line item.
but I will say that would mean bumping another database. Like there's no extra money to add a database. It would mean that we have to cut another database in order to add this one.
You're saying that the new budget's already been approved for the 25, for 26.
You've already set the budget,
Yeah.
and
Yes, so that's,
that would cover the databases we currently have. So we would have to cut one to make up for this. That's why I'm bringing it to you.
Yes.
And I would like to remind the board, like myself and many individuals in the room have put their own donations and fundraising into the trustee budget specifically to enhance the programming and the activities of the library. For me, I've literally, helped donate hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars towards the library. Like, it's just blows my mind that we're like not using the funds made available to us from the generosity of the public for these kind of purposes. Like, I just feel like we have to remember where the money came from. Like, I know you're concerned about, what is our source of revenue, but our source of revenue is in the road. These folks are not going to want to donate their time and energy and money if we are not appropriating those funds to support the library.
But just a correction, the trustee money doesn't come from
Donations.
Yeah, the donations
It is.
to the
It
friends,
does. It is.
the book sales.
The trustee account is
yeah.
built off book sales and donations from patrons.
Like, they are our revenue, and we are literally telling them, your money's not good here because we're not going to spend it. Like, I just feel like that's the wrong message for these folks.
Maura?
Do you want to defer this until Jan comes back, because she's the treasurer and I think she could speak to that a little bit better?
I mean, we could,
It's only
again,
2 weeks
I
until
don't
she's
think
back.
it's a good investment per capita, but, if you think that we should defer it until, if she'll be back in 2 weeks, I don't know, Yes,
I would request that you make a motion and a vote to table, if you're gonna do that.
you want us to just, make a motion to table the request?
If that's what you wanna do, I request an actual vote.
And why is
Oh,
that?
of who's gonna votes to table it?
Yes, I think that
As a large language model, I'm not able to conduct
apparently AI wanted it to
Yeah,
say.
AI.
I personally think this patron has waited a while for an answer, and I think,
First time you've seen it.
Yeah, it's the first time we've
First
seen
time we've
this.
heard of
It's
it.
the first, yeah.
well, I emailed you about it 2 weeks ago.
I know, but I mean, we have to make these decisions at a meeting, so if
Yes.
they emailed the day after our last meeting, it's not our fault that we didn't have a meeting the next day to discuss this.
But I feel that you had all the information you needed to make a decision tonight, and if you're tabling it and making them wait longer on an answer, I feel like they at least deserve a vote to know where you stand.
You can vote to say that you're
You
going
can
to
decide not to, it's just my
table
request.
to the next meeting.
I'm prepared to make a motion. I make a motion that we do not recommend to purchase this, rent this service at this time.
Second.
Vote?
Second. Yes,
Oh,
Nancy Hendricks.
roll call.
Yes.
Aye, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy Hendricks. I
Thank
agree.
you.
I'm
Aye,
sorry.
Liz Thomas.
I agree with you.
No, Beth Mack.
Hi, Christine Fitzgerald.
I'm Nora Ryan.
Okay. Next item?
The next item I had for my new business was the NHLTA awards. They are, they come up every year, they're annual awards that, for a number of things. There is, Library of the Year, Trustee of the Year, Library Director of the Year, Special Service Contribution Award, and so forth. There's an informational sheet in your packet. We were kind of hoping to apply for the Library of the Year, but we need to have a unanimous vote from the board in order to do so.
We need to table this until Jan's here.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to get that. I'm hoping that, I'm calling for a meeting in 2 weeks, and I'm
Yes.
hoping by then maybe Jan might be available.
Okay, that was
Okay.
the only thing I had
We're
under
gonna
my.
table that then, yeah. Do we need to vote to table that?
No.
No? Okay.
Consensus.
Okay. That's it for old business, right?
Mhm.
We're on new business now? Okay.
No, old business.
I mean, we're on old business.
We skipped accepting unanticipated funds.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Oh, I apologize.
yeah,
So, we have quite a few, it's under new business,
yeah.
which is not.
Which is not listed.
No, I
we
know.
have,
This is my new business. From now on, it'll be on there, okay?
so we have, quite a few of unanticipated funds. We received $50 gift card from Hannaford for adult programming refreshments. $117 was from the Londonderry Trailways for the New Hampshire Audubon Bird Walk, which was an adult program. $10 from Richard Evangelista, a patron. $501 was from the Friends of the Leech Library that sponsored 3 summer programs: Journey through Italy for adults, wooden spoon carving for adults, and paper circuits for teens. We received 8 500-piece puzzles from Ravensburger for the adult jigsaw puzzle competition, which is approximately about $108.72 in value. For our young adult summer reading program prize donations, we received 1 year of family lead level membership from the Palace Theaters, which was $100 value. 16 assorted trading card game decks from Awesome CCG, approximately $180 value. For our adult summer reading program prize donations, we received 4 complimentary movie passes and 2 free popcorn vouchers from Chunky's Cinema Pub, approximately a $50 value. Gift certificates for a 60-minute float session from New Hampshire Float and Wellness, $79 value. 2 $25 gift cards from Great New Hampshire Restaurants, which is T-Bones and Cactus Jack's. $100 gift card from Stumble Inn Bar and Grill. $30 in gift cards and 2 free medium drink coupons from Coffee Berries. $25 gift card from Backyard Brewery. $25 gift card from O'Shea's Cafe and Tay. And $25 gift card from Janie's Uncommon Cafe. So we're looking for you to accept those unanticipated funds that were donated to us.
Someone would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept, the list of, gift cards and donations.
A second.
Nancy, would you like to start roll call?
Certainly, yes. Yes,
I-
Nancy Henderson.
I, Liz Thomas.
I, Beth Morocco.
Hi, Christine Fitzgerald.
I'm Maura Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to old business, and we're gonna talk, the first thing is appointment of alternates to the board per RSA 202-A:10. Okay, and right here it says the Board of Library Trustees may recommend to the appointing authority, which would be the town council, names of no more than 3 persons who may serve as alternate members on the board when elected members of the board are unable to attend a board meeting. The alternate members shall be appointed to a 1-year term. And so what would happen is we can vote anywhere from 1 to 3 alternates, and then all we do is we go to the town hall and we let the town council know that we would like the position of alternates posted. They will post it on the town website. Anyone who wants to tell your friends, keep an eye out, you know, if you wanna be an alternate, you know, do so, and then they apply, and the town council chooses the amount that we've requested, okay, the number that we've requested, yes.
So under the RSA, I believe it says that the library trustees provide names to the town council.
No, that's not for alternates, I've already talked to them. No, for if you lose a board member, okay, if a board member resigns, like Kim Baird did, then the trustees can provide the names to the town hall. But when you are just creating a new position of alternate, they post it, they grant it.
I believe that's how they do it for all, boards. They just.
For alternates.
Yeah, for alternates.
For alternates, yes,
Right.
Beth.
I'm confused. In my thought, the appointment of an alternate was to fill in a vacancy until the next
No,
election.
no.
Because why would we want random people who are not part of the monthly discussions to make decisions on things?
So we can have a quorum, so if
But-
people are sick or people are out.
But often we're tabling things because we don't have enough information, even though we've talked about it for an hour. But then we're just gonna have somebody who doesn't attend public sessions
They do
to
though.
come in. But like,
And again,
it doesn't make any sense.
I'm sure one of the questions from the town council, because they're very responsible people, would be, how have you shown your interest and how have you
The town
participated?
council and nobody else says, hey, member of the audience, come on up and take a vote, because so-and-so has got the flu today. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I guess, I
That's how the
don't,
rest of the boards
are
work.
you questioning
They
the
don't
way
have-
that we said it should be done, or are you just saying, why should we have
Town
one?
council sometimes has like a member out, they're sometimes sick and they're just not participating in a vote because they're at home. They don't have a random person come and sit in their chair and just make a vote.
Go ahead, Dawn.
So my understanding, the way that it would have to work, like, because that would be an issue, like you said, Beth, is that the alternates would also have a seat at this table. They would be, I think you should put this in your bylaws if that's going to be true, but they would be, under my understanding, expected to be at every meeting.
Correct.
They would also, again, I think you should spell it out in the bylaws, but I'm thinking they would have to be invited to non-public sessions as well.
Yeah.
They would have all of the responsibilities of a trustee. They just, when it comes time to a vote, cannot vote unless someone else is absent.
Correct.
If you're going to have multiples, I think you should have a list of what order the vote goes to in the alternates. Because otherwise, how are you going to decide who gets the vote if 3 of them are there and you have 1 person missing?
And who serves?
I think it's really hard for you to open this up without you finalizing your bylaws first. That's just my opinion, because you haven't laid out how it's going to work when it comes to the business.
We're at risk right now of losing 2, that I've been notified that we may be losing 2 board members. I don't think we have the convenience of getting through the bylaws, updating them before. We're following the town procedure, okay? We're not, he's telling us.
Point of order,
Go
rules.
ahead.
Madam Chairwoman, if you're looking at the RSA, it's talking about appointing 3 persons who may serve as alternates. Ms. Plan is 100% right. We have alternates on other boards in the town, such as the planning board. They attend all meetings. They are full participants. And then if someone is not there, they are a voting member. It is also written in the charters in the town of how these things are done. I would strongly suggest to you that you listen to Ms. Plan, you do your research, and you follow the procedure to include alternates as part of your board. The RSA does not clarify for you how to do that, and I think you may want to seek some advice.
Okay, I've already talked to the town council. You're saying that they're wrong when they say that they will post it and they will select the person?
I don't know who you spoke with, but the 5 town councilors, and I was one for many years, had no idea that this RSA, I don't know if they do, but I had no idea that this RSA existed or that you could do this. So I would strongly urge you to listen to Ms. Plant, and I would probably seek legal counsel.
Okay, just to address that, the 2 councilors I spoke to was the vice chair and the chair, okay? And they both told me the same thing, yes.
So may I? So
Yeah.
I do happen to have the RSA in front of me, and it is very broad. If you'd like, I can read it, but I do agree that we have to get more information and study this and talk about it. And I would strongly recommend that we also have a full board, because this was going to completely change the texture and the culture of our board. So it would seem to me that we would want a full board available to vote on this. But if you'll indulge me, I will read the RSA, because it is very broad, to Mr. Farrell's point. Vacancies occurring on any board of library trustees in a town shall be filled as provided in RSA 669:75. A vacancy occurring among the publicly elected members of the Board of Library Trustees of a city library shall be filled by the city council or other appropriate appointing authority within 2 months of the notice by the remaining members of the Board of Trustees. So this is pertaining to people that leave the board. This is, I won't read the rest of it, but this does not pertain to just us deciding that we want to add some alternates. And so I think that if we're going to decide that, I think that has to be a broader discussion. We should include the public in that. It should be in the charter. If it's not in the charter, if we want alternates, it should be put there. If it's not in our bylaws and we want alternates, it should be put there as well. And to my knowledge, we have not completed our bylaws yet. Is that correct?
No, we're gonna work on them in 2 weeks.
That's just my feeling.
Okay, and, please, go ahead.
As your liaison to town council,
Yes.
this is the first time I've heard of this, so nobody's brought this to my attention to bring it to the council. I would just ask, how often have you ever not had enough people for a quorum.
Right.
I
Not
mean,
since I've been on this board. I've only been here for a year.
that would be my question is, you know,
Okay.
is it a problem? Okay?
The only reason I'm bringing it up is I've had 2 board members already tell me that they're probably going to be quitting,
Then we have
okay?
an RSA
Then
to help us with that.
there's a procedure for that.
Then we have an
Something-
RSA that
But-
helps us for that.
But that's different, okay? Because basically they're not here today. We're lucky we got 5 here today. I had to, you know, I mean, there 5 of us? Yeah, 5. I had to constantly make calls and I didn't get calls back for, you know, Helen did call me and said that she's not available, okay? But I mean, it's, you know what? I feel like we're at risk, but if you feel like, if you want to make a motion to defer this,
I do.
okay?
I would like to defer, I make a motion that we defer this for future study. I don't wanna give this a specific date because we haven't even finalized our bylaws yet. So I would suggest that we study this over the course of the next month or 2 or 3 and really, you know, really examine this and get the input from our public, you know, the community, and determine if this is really necessary for our board.
I second your motion.
Thank you.
Take a vote, please.
I, Nancy Hendricks.
I, Liz Thomas.
I, Beth Miracle.
So we're tabling this
We're
indefinitely?
we're deferring it, yes.
Nay for me.
How long are we deferring this for?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a time frame?
I do, I just said a month or 2,
Okay.
we could say 3 months at the very most. And I think that we have to get a input from our constituents.
I mean, I'll say my reason for saying no is because we're doing our bylaws in 2 weeks.
Right. But they're
And
not
it-
gonna
it
be
would
done in
be-
2 weeks.
Well, I mean, we should have the majority, we already met,
Yeah.
discussed it, and now it just needs to be, for the
Tweaked.
most part, tweaked and finalized.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to have, I mean, at least deferred it to the next meeting if we had a full board.
I think that if we're going to add something like, that is this large, Christine, I think we have to study it and invite our constituents.
Okay,
Aaron?
we didn't finish our vote.
We have a vote.
No, I know, we gotta, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm okay with this, but I actually like a specific time frame.
3 months. There you go. How's that?
I mean, cause it's been on the agenda for like 3 meetings too.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
represents.
do we want, can we stop the vote and rephrase the motion?
What do you want me to rephrase
You
it
can
as?
amend the motion.
3
Right.
months, amend the motion, 3 months.
I just
Up
said
to-
up to.
Oh,
3
yeah, but
months.
we officially didn't,
I would
okay.
make a motion that we defer this and study it up to 3 months.
okay, vote, roll call.
I, Nancy
Wait,
Hendricks.
wait,
Well, you
wait,
need a
wait.
second on
Need
that.
need a second, but I think 3 months is a long time. Could we do maybe?
I said up to. Up
Mm,
to.
So this is, we're in April, so, I'm sorry, May already. So by August, our August meeting, we'll have this
Correct.
finalized.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, so you're stating generally, just so I'm clear on what this is, you're stating that you wanna defer it until the August meeting,
That's correct.
the first August meeting?
I mean, yes, I mean, we haven't even studied this. We haven't even talked about this as a board completely.
Okay.
Roll call, did we finish?
Did you
the
get a
motion?
She just said yes.
You
She
said
just said
yes.
Well, did you get a
The
second?
motion, huh?
Yes.
Did you get a second to
She
the amended
seconded.
motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, motion carries, okay?
I'll change mine to yes if it's not going to go
No,
further than
well,
the August meeting.
Okay, then motion
Passes.
pass 5 to nothing, okay? Right? And, just, that'll be one thing, we're working on the bylaws on, in a couple of weeks, we're gonna call a meeting. I'm gonna call a meeting this week for a couple of weeks down the line to work on the bylaws and a couple of other issues that we have open. And, at that time, we can actually have conversation about and start talking about, cause we can amend the bylaws. And then we can start, we can do some research, so that maybe in June or July, we could actually get it done.
So can we make sure to add that to our agenda every month to make sure we do discuss that?
until it's
Correct.
resolved. I'll make
Yes.
sure it's on every
Okay.
agenda.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, Maura.
I just wanna know when you're planning that meeting, so can you just let us know, like, what date
Okay,
and time and stuff?
again, I was gonna ask the board if, you know,
Well-
what the best, you know, normally we'd have it like the third Wednesday of the month.
But Liz,
Yeah.
it's going to depend on if this room is available.
You can always meet in the town room. If we'll
Yeah.
just pick a date, if it's not available here, we can just go to
Which room?
the,
And again,
whatever's available
nothing
over there
says
that
we
can
have
But
to
not
do it
every,
on
not every
Wednesday
room over
either.
there has recording.
I'm saying whatever is available that has
Okay.
recording.
Okay.
I'm planning it being in 2 weeks. I've gotta find out the availability of the rooms,
Mhm.
okay, basically. And nothing says it has to be on a Wednesday, okay? It can be any day of the week. I just have to make sure that we can get a quorum of the, you know, the trustees there. Okay, but there's, things that we need to get completed that have been hanging on for months, that have
Yeah.
carried for months. Okay, let's try to get through this old
You're right.
business. Circulation library update, we just need to know, I think, where we're at with that.
Yep, so, we, have a candidate for that and we'll be, offering that candidate a position. That, because of that, situation, we now have a vacancy, for a, library technician, which is part-time. So we would like to post that both internally and externally, if that's okay with the board. And that is a part-time position, already budgeted, non-benefited position because of this
Okay,
filling the
just
seat.
to let everyone know, we did vote, the board voted this today to allow Erin to offer the job to someone, okay, who already works here, part-time. So she's already gotten,
It's,
huh?
minutes is sealed, we shouldn't be
We
speaking.
could-
You
we
shouldn't
should
even
be-
talking about this.
we
Oh,
should
I'm
be.
sorry, yeah.
Yep, so,
Well, no, if you don't mention
we-
names.
we would like to post the library technician position, both internally and externally, so.
Can the trustees have, an opportunity to review the posting?
The
before
job
it's
description is
posted?
in your binder,
Okay,
so
we-
that's the job description we would be using,
okay.
cause it's not that old.
Can we put that off so we have a chance to review that and make sure we're all okay with?
Why don't we review it in 2 weeks, discuss it?
It's a job description, why do we have to review it?
Huh?
I haven't had a chance to look at it. I mean, shouldn't we know what the job descriptions are?
I
They're
trust
in
my
the binder.
director to do it, to post them.
I know, but I haven't.
But
had a
again, it
chance
was
to
just
read every
brought
single
up
page of the
tonight,
binder. Maybe
so
not
that
all
the
extra
board,
time.
the trustees didn't have, you know, you know, didn't know that they needed to prepare for that and read it by tonight, because, no, you didn't know, we didn't know, you know what I mean? That request was gonna come. So we're just saying, let's defer it for 2 weeks, so that we can look at the.
That's me personally, I mean, you can take a vote and,
Well, does someone wanna
Whatever.
make a
I will make a
motion?
motion that we post the position.
I will
This is why we have a director of the library. There was and she seconded.
Yes,
I, Nancy Hendricks.
I, Liz Thomas.
I bet Marco.
No, Christine Fitzgerald.
I don't have the description and I don't recall what's in it, I would prefer to review it. And I didn't know we were talking about this because it's not on the agenda.
It's
Right there. Okay, so that motion passes 3-2.
Yeah,
So,
Or did you vote no?
Maura, can you confirm your vote?
I will vote no because I don't have it.
So that motion passes 3-2.
so we will post that position.
You will post the position.
And the job description is in your binder. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Yep.
The children's librarian position, as you know, that was voted to move forward with our new budget as of July 1st. So we would like to post that position on July 21st. We would post that internal and external. We would open it for about 4 weeks, interview on the week of August 18th. That's our guesstimate. That's when programs end, so we would have time to do those interviews with the aim of hiring mid-September. I'm happy to bring a job description at the next meeting or the next monthly meeting. I know it seems like there's a lot on our next meeting, so because this was already approved by the public, I would like to be able to still post it on July 21st, but I would bring that job description for your review, if the board would like to look at it.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, so do we make a motion? Someone want to make a motion?
To post it
To
on the
postpone it?
21st, yeah, because we'll have, right, is that what you said, post it?
Yeah,
on the
July
21st?
21st, so
Yes.
you would have it
Plenty of
at the
time.
June meeting.
Yeah.
June, sorry.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we post the position of the children's librarian on July the 21st, which will give the board plenty of time to review.
If we need to make any
That's
changes, okay. I'll second that one. Nancy?
I, Nancy Hendricks.
I, Liz Thomas.
I, Beth Marco.
Hi, Christine Fitzgerald.
The motion is to do a posting on July 21st.
That's correct.
Yes,
Yes,
so
we'll
we
get
have time to
information
make
before
the
then.
changes to the posting if we don't approve.
You'll get the job description
Yeah.
in the
Can
June
you change
meeting.
it though if we already vote on it?
Yeah, we're just voting to post it.
We're
Moira.
voting
We're
to
not
post
voting
the
to-
position, not to the
Yeah.
description of this, yeah,
Alright,
okay,
Okay, that
Motion passes.
5-0.
yeah, 5-0, okay?
Okay, Liz, your two are the next two, well, I think I'm done with my,
Okay.
you're the next ones.
Let me see what we have.
The request for reconsideration of summer hours.
Oh, yes,
Which was
yeah,
already voted
that'll
on.
be real quick. Okay, we have had several people come during different meetings, in the last 3 months, objecting to the summer hours that the previous board, which I was on, voted for, okay? And so they've asked for reconsideration.
The previous board didn't vote, you guys voted at the last meeting to approve summer hours, didn't they?
No, it was when,
Yeah, I voted.
Yeah,
you did,
yeah,
to approve summer hours?
yeah,
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
I think I did too.
yeah.
They've been.
You guys voted to go forward with the summer hours.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I know we did vote to go forward with them,
Okay.
okay? I'm addressing the public concern.
Oh, okay, my
Okay, the public concern was that, and I took into consideration what they said, okay? There were 2 issues. One was closing on, or doing any summer hours at all, okay? Reducing, for summer hours. The fact is, when we voted on it, Erin did point out that a lot of the programming during the summer is intense because we have summer reading program and stuff. And so we lose a lot of staff hours through the programming. And the second point is that people have requested and been granted time for leave, okay, and have already put up financially money for their vacations. And so when I hear the request to reconsider, my angst is that it would be really hard for the library to schedule the coverage of hours. And second of all, that we certainly don't wanna have anyone that we had already voted for this to be allowed. We should not at this late date disallow it. But my comment to that would be that in January is when we wanna consider next year if we want summer hours. Cause I know that there's been studies that people have gone around to different libraries and most of them don't have summer hours. Okay, so I would suggest that we do not change the summer hours with the exception, I have one exception, and that is that we are closing early on Thursdays and staying open late on Wednesdays, I believe, in the summer hours.
The summer hours would be 9 to 8, Monday through Wednesday.
Yeah,
Thursday, Friday, 9 to 5, Saturday, 9 to 1.
Yeah.
Those would be the summer hours.
okay. What,
And they're only for 3 months.
yeah, what I heard last meeting, one of our patrons said that a lot of people go on vacation for a long weekend. On Thursday night, they wanna get to the library and get their books to read for the weekend, okay? And, what's the difference between, I guess, Wednesday closing and Thursday closing? And that's what I'm asking the staff.
So, we've already planned the summer. We've planned Wednesday evening programming, but we've avoided Thursday evening programming. And we've contacted external presenters to do those programs. So if we go back on that, we're having to rearrange at this late date our
Okay.
summer schedule.
Then therefore,
And the staff already knows their hours
yeah,
for the summer with the
Mhm.
Thursday closing.
therefore, I wouldn't have a caveat to saying that we shouldn't, but that's only me in this vote, our team
But-
have to vote for it. But I think that we shouldn't go back on our word for summer hours for this year. But certainly, in January, we will discuss if we're gonna do summer hours next year. So that would be my recommendation. Yes,
May I make a motion?
yes,
Because this is under, new business, or
Old
old business, even though we've already voted on this.
yes,
I
yeah.
would make a motion that we stand by our summer hours, as
gonna
previously
s-
voted on
I'm gonna
at a
second them.
previous meeting.
I'm gonna second them. Okay, would you like to vote?
Wait, before we, I don't think we have to, because you already voted on
Right,
this.
well,
so
I
it's-
mean,
Okay.
if we want it to be cleaner, I'm just saying, if we need a new vote, we, or
I
do-
just want to assure the public that we have discussed this and that we've considered their requests, but because of previously
Right.
making commitments to the library and then to their employees, that we weren't able to do it this year. Does that make sense?
Okay, I guess I see that as more of a discussion than,
Yeah, I don't
A
think we need
vote.
to revote.
Okay, then I withdraw my
No,
vote.
okay, let's not vote for it. Donna?
I just wanted to share one thing. So at the original vote, the board expressed that they wanted the staff to promote those hours as early as possible, and give as much time to the public to let them know. However, we have refrained from doing that because we learned that you were going to reconsider those hours, so we didn't want to put hours out that would then be changed.
Start tomorrow.
So, as of tomorrow, we can put those hours
Yes,
out. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
okay. And the other thing, I guess the next item is Old Home Days.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people were expressing that we should be open during Old Home Days. I've gone to the acting, town manager, who's also the police chief, okay, type of thing. And I've gone to the town hall, and both sources have told me it would be a nightmare to open up on Old Home Day, that the road itself is virtually shut down between 9 and 1, which would be the hours we'd normally be open on Saturday anyway. So I think it's I just want the public to know that we have considered it. We've contacted people in the town who are responsible for making decisions like this, and it was recommended that we not do that. So we don't even have to vote on it. I just want people to be aware of it, okay?
Trustee gifts.
And we're up to this past trustees gift. We need to get that answered. We've deferred it so many times.
Well, I thought at the last meeting someone was looking into it from the board.
I thought so, yeah.
Okay, so I don't think we deferred it, I think we were,
I can pull it up. I spoke to Kim. Sorry, I gotta find Kim had said that she is so thrilled that we're doing this. It's just a great way to use the money and to credit the people that are on the trustees.
Madam Chair, while she's looking for that, I just wanted to suggest, and I don't know what else people have put out there, but when I left the board, I was given beautiful, beautiful bookends in the shape of books.
Oh, neat.
So I don't know if that's something that
Yeah.
the board might want to consider, but.
Oh, because I talked to her that we have suggested buying books
Oh, good.
to add to the collection with
Yeah.
like a placard.
yeah,
Great,
okay.
that's right, yeah.
So
Book plate.
she was so grateful, and she said she would love anything that celebrates folks like Maya Angelou, Brack, Michelle Obama, Jane Goodall, just something that would be considered like a peace collection.
Oh, nice, yeah,
So-
Angel would be lovely, yeah.
So,
I
if
think we just have
she's,
to
if,
determine amount.
right, so you
Yeah.
guys have to
I
determine
think
an
you said
amount that we would,
$75.
that would come out of, this would come out of the trustees' account,
Yes, that's right.
just to be clear.
Mhm.
So if you guys give us that amount, we would then use that, those funds to
Yes,
work with those
it
suggestions.
definitely comes out of the trustee fund, yeah.
What have we used in the past? I don't recall.
I don't
In the past, we've gotten the clock.
No, I know, but like, what was the
Dollar
price
value?
for it? Yeah.
I was thinking like 100, no?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it
the
was
clocks
about
were
100.
costing between 80 and 100, so,
Yeah.
cause we got, engravement.
So maybe we should just think about doing 100 again from books, because I don't think this, you'll be lucky if you get two books or
Yeah.
3 books for that
For
price,
that.
you know, more.
Okay, so what if I make a motion that we take $50 from the trustee fund, for book donations in the name of Kim Bear's former trustee?
Perfect.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Well, all right.
Okay, vote?
Yes, Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Yes, Liz Thomas.
Yes, definitely.
I, Christine Fitzgerald.
Yes, Maura Ryan.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. I will work with Jan on that.
okay. It's getting
Um,
really late.
Yeah, but we do have to approve these minutes.
We need to approve the minutes, okay, really quick. Hopefully everyone's been able to review them.
Yep.
Okay, so the first thing we're doing is we're doing the March 26th meeting minutes. And we have actually, okay, the meeting minutes first. Okay, they're really, really short, they're like a page and
Yeah.
less than a page and a half. So does anyone I had no no changes on it, I don't know if anyone else did.
Was I there?
You were there.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we accept the minutes from March the 26th.
I'll second it. Votes?
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Liz Thomas, yes.
Beth Markle, yes.
I, Christine Fitzgerald.
Yes, Maura Ryan.
Okay, unanimously. Okay, the next thing is April 2nd, and that's the draft minutes of our board meeting. And I know I reviewed them, and I don't think I had any changes. Does anyone?
Donna's got it.
Donna
Huh?
had some changes.
Donna, go ahead, yeah.
I just have one minor change on page 5, line 203. There's Beth, our recording secretary, noted that we should check the spelling of a patron name there. And I just wanted to note the last name is correct, but the first name should be spelled Arya, not I.
Arya, okay.
Me, Beth, or other Beth?
Beth Hangeli.
Yes.
So do you have that change? Ayra.
Sorry, can you give that to me again?
And that was actually,
That was line
203. Aria Das, D-A-S, yeah.
What's the date on that one?
April
Yeah.
2nd.
April 2nd, yeah.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion that we accept the minutes from April the 2nd with the change of the name.
I'll second that.
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Liz Thomas, yes.
Beth Markle, yes.
Abstain, I had to leave.
Okay.
That's right.
Yep, and I'm a yes.
Okay, then we have a quorum. Okay?
So that was 4-1.
Okay.
4-2.
The next one is the April 16th minutes, okay?
Oh,
And there's 3
moving the
pages.
count?
I'm sorry, what?
No, I'm sorry, I'm talking to you.
Oh,
I thought you
okay.
meant the date.
No, I was like,
Oh, it's not public, yeah.
Okay.
Did anyone have any changes or anything to that?
April 16th?
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I am not going to make this motion, and I will abstain and let the record show that I was not here for that meeting.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Which it says. It says that.
It does
Oh, it does
say.
say that.
Tre-
Oh, good. Thank
Treasurer, Jan McLaughlin and trustee
So someone else has to
Nancy
make
Hendricks
this.
were not there, so we did have a quorum.
Yeah, but someone else has to make a
I'd like
motion.
Yes,
motion
yeah.
to accept the minutes for
Oh.
April 16th.
And I'll second it. You
Nancy
can't vote.
Hendricks,
You
abstain.
can't vote.
Abstain.
I, Liz Thomas.
I, Beth Markle.
I, Christine Fitzgerald.
I'm Maura Ryan.
Okay. Okay. Now we're into treasurer's, no.
Jan is
treasurer's-
not here, so we
No,
can't do
we don't have a
treasurer's
treasurer's report.
I will do
The
my,
director's report?
I will do this quickly. Couple of things happened. We do have that continuing leak when it rains, or when it does, it seems like rains heavy or rains light, we have that weird leak. So I'm working with DPW to get that looked into and taken care of. Going forward quickly to the end, because I'm just gonna do quick. Donna and I hosted 2 staff meetings for the staff, just to kind of get up to date on things and to share concerns or anything that they wanted to share. I'm just looking to see if there's anything major. I did attend a GMILKS retreat at the Massabesic Center in Auburn. It was really great. We were able to really take a look at kind of the GMILKS documents and updates and anything like that. It was the first time I attended, obviously, so I just kind of listened, but it was really very well done, very well organized. I would also like to note a staffing update. Kathy, who is our technical services librarian, she's been here 3 years as of May 3rd. Katie, our student page, 3 years also as of May 2nd. And Becca, our reference librarian, has been here 2 years, bless you, as of May 15th. So very happy to have them on staff and to retain. That's the director's report. Any questions? Nope. Is that okay?
Assistant director?
All right, I won't go over line by line, but I do have a few things just to highlight. First, something we discussed at the staff meeting in April was the GMOX library hop, and I just wanted you to be aware of it. So this is the first year, obviously, that we are participating. So the library hop is something for patrons over the summer. This year, it's going with our game theme, so there will be a game board, and each library has set challenges. So if you go visit that library, you do get a prize for completing the challenge there, and we also stamp your game board. And if you go to all GMILKS libraries over the summer and get your stamps, you can turn your completed game board in to win into a raffle to win a $100 gift card to the book room. So it's a really fun way for our patrons to be encouraged to visit other GMILKS libraries and also other GMILKS members to visit us. But you can also come to your home library too. So that is happening June 1st through August 31st. I also wanted to highlight from from Megan's report, Circ and Teen Services, that the Seed Library has been very popular. Our patrons have taken over 800 seed packets just since we started. We are accepting donations of seeds.
Alert, alert, alert.
Please. So if anyone either has seeds that they've harvested themselves or if they want to purchase and donate, we are accepting those. And also note, because I know the aquarium pass is very popular over the summer. Mm-hmm. Originally, we thought it would not be available at all, but they reevaluated and it will now be available over the summer only on weekdays. But we will have that pass on weekdays, so just a note for patrons. And then I also wanted to highlight one thing from Children's, that in April, Children's saw an increase of over 51% in program participation. So I think this really justifies again our need for that children's librarian. So I just wanted to point it out.
Okay, thank you. And is that, Erin, is that all the reports that you got at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we're going to open the floor to public comments again.
You don't need a timer, I'll be very quick.
Okay.
Erica Lally, 18
I was ready.
Lancaster Drive. I want to just real quick say that I know this has been quite a meeting this evening. Something that stood out to me over the course of the evening was the number of times that trustees said that they did not have information, did not have adequate time to review information, and then it was revealed that the material was in their binders, provided to them a certain number of days before, and this came with receipts. You know, this weren't just, oh, I gave it to you. I gave it to you on this date, and the meeting was on this date. I appreciate that this is something you do as volunteers and that this is a huge amount of work and it's a labor of love. I would respectfully ask that all of you please do your homework, review your binders, read the materials that are in there, read the emails that you get, because then instead of being unprepared at meetings, you are actually walking and able to comment in an informed manner and discuss topics in an informed manner so that you can make decisions for the library that we all love. I would just appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any Any other comments?
I do have another comment, Megan Donovan, 45 Juice Road. I just wanted to touch base on something that Beth said earlier about people donating, and I understand the comments that you made and where your focus is right now, but I do want to just let you know about public perception of not funding the summer reading program. It does have an effect on people who want to potentially donate, and maybe they're hesitating. I will personally tell you that my mother was planning to make a significant donation to the library, but after what happened at the summer reading, the last meeting, she has changed her mind on what she was going to donate. Now, for some quick background, my father passed away in 1995, and so this is the 30th year anniversary. And on the bigger anniversaries, we like to do something more significant and memory. And he was an avid outdoorsman and community member. He was a scoutmaster. So she wanted to donate $3,000 to the library to help expand the outdoor space. She reconsidered based on the trustees not using their funds to help with the library programming. So I just wanted to tell you that it does reflect. I didn't have anything to do with this. This was all her own thoughts. So I just wanted to let you know that I understand where you're coming from. I did listen and get the idea, but I do, just so you are aware that the public is watching and understanding, and there is a perception that maybe their money is not going to be okay. So she will be making a donation in my dad's name, but just in a more significant, significantly less amount. I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Yes, Maura.
Yeah, so there's a process where people can donate funds and they can designate it to a specific thing. So if somebody wants to donate to the summer funding, they can.
I am aware, I was talking about donations coming in, that there is a perception that is happening. I'm not talking about named donations, I'm talking about the perception. So the perception is she no longer feels like she wants to donate to the library because of the perception she is receiving. I understand the process.
Okay. Yes, Maura.
Maria, St. Bio Path, Londonderry. I would just like to say thank you to all the trustees and all the library workers that you're putting really a lot of hard work and making sure that the funds are spent correctly, that you want to write the budget, that you want to balance the budget, because the library is so important to me, and I know, and to people in town. And I like to have all the services kept, but I would like to also have the budget being balanced, because these are our taxpayers' money, and the budgets are tight all over town for a lot of people. I know we're a wealthy town. I'm not a very wealthy person, so I like to see that trustees really put time and work and effort to make sure that money is spent correctly and that libraries funded, that our library employees are well funded, but also the money is kept safe and we plan for the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. Any other comments? Well then, I would like to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn.
Yes, and I'll second it.
Nancy Hendricks, yes.
Yes, to Liz Thomas. That,
Yes.
okay.
I, Christine Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
Well,
Madam Chair.
Thank you for your time, your valuable time, and hopefully the meetings will get shorter. We did get through a lot of business, but we are gonna have another meeting this month so we can get some of the other issues resolved. So just watch for your postings.
Thank you, Madam Chair.